up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going, Celtic Warrior Game?
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, episode 1 again. I'm at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR, the show. We are a full litter box here, guys. We got the Klump. What's up, Klump?
Hello, how are y'all doing tonight?
Oh, he sounds so good like that. He always sounds that way.
I'll maintain it.
Yeah, maintain it. And with us, as always, the lovely MsAmandaJayne. What's up, MsAmandaJayne?
Oh, having a blast. Oh, I'm lovely this week. Wow.
It's been a really slow week. Not a lot to talk about. Nothing really happening. But happy to have my drinking buddies with me. It's been a crazy couple of days too. We got to go through a bunch of stuff. I know yesterday me and Kev broke down a bunch of stuff, which we'll get into some of that still, because I want to get your guys' take on some of the stuff we talked about yesterday, but we'll probably dig in a little bit deeper on some of the stuff that was breaking yesterday as we were on, and so not as much stuff was out there at the time. So with that, let's at least get the pleasantries out of the way from my drinking buddies. Ladies first. MsAmandaJayne, what's in your glass?
I've got regular Coke, and I will be having an adult popsicle with some popcorn later. So, I think this week we're going to try the strawberry one.
That sounds good. We were looking at some of the popsicle margaritas recently too. We're gonna probably grab some.
That was the Cutwater ones. That's the ones. I will say this: there's a whole the tequila taste is very strong.
You know you.
Well, last week I had one, and then I was just like, "Woo!" Yeah, off the rails. So, yes.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Klump, what are you drinking? What's in your glass?
I got a Perrier.
French, huh?
Fancy.
Did you get that because of Giovanni Vinci and his debut? A little.
No, that's Perrier's French. Pellegrino's Italian, and dear God, no. I know what you're talking about. Don't do this to me.
Did they cut it from Hulu, or was it in Hulu?
I wish they cut it.
Can't wait.
No, I watched the whole thing. I watched the whole thing on Peacock. I was.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Could have gone shorter.
You could have. They could. Yeah, it was one of the episodes you felt like, I could have shaved off a good third of this. I'm having Ocean vodka. I'm having a little single shot of it. It comes in a bottle that looks like a message in a bottle kind of a deal. I was introduced to this, and look, it looks like it's ocean water. It's out of Maui. It's organic. Sports Beard was having it on the show once, and I thought that was amazing. So when I went up to visit him in Alaska, he got a fresh bottle for me, and I made sure that we did not leave a drop in the house as a way to say thank you. And then I thought about bringing back the bottle because I was just so happy about the bottle. But I thought there's no way it's like not available in Arizona. And so we went to the store, and I found the big bottle. Also found a little bottle, and I thought, you know what? I'll start with the little bottle and go from there.
There you go.
But I don't know. It's really good. I'm a sucker for gimmicks. At the store they had it in, it was next to a vodka bottle that was an alien head. That was also tinted green. It was crazy.
Nice. I will say Hawaii's got some really good alcohol out there. Shout out to the Kaloa Rum Company in Hawaii. Yum. That's
we have a Trader Vic's macadamia nut liqueur over here from Hawaii as well. And we had a Kona liqueur for a while from Hawaii too, but not now. Such a cool bottle. I want to do stuff with it.
That's cool. I want a bottle just to have the bottle.
I know. I thought that first. I was like, even if it's bad, I just want the bottle. I'm also gonna have it with Dr. Pepper Dark Berry Zero Sugar. Have you had the Dark Berry one yet, Klump?
No. I did. I mean, in the name of weird sodas, I didn't know this, but Coke came out with a space-flavored version of Coke.
Yeah, Starlight. I had that.
Yeah, is it good?
I don't know.
I remember having it, and I also remember, for one, I don't like Coke. and I don't like cola. And it was very cola flavored, but it had kind of a almost like a big red kind of zing to it, if I remember correctly. And I remember thinking I was not likely going to buy it again, but if it was, but not because it's like bad, but because I'm not a big soda drinker to begin with, and it wasn't going to be the one that was going to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was glad I did it, but yeah, I wasn't like, hey, everyone's got to know about this.
Mm-hmm.
I've had all the Dr. Peppers now, the cherries, cream sodas, vanillas, all those. All those ones are so good because they pick an identifiably loud flavor, you know? This dark berry one is so subtle. It's basically like Dr. Pepper with an aftertaste. It's weird. So
Don't like Dr. Pepper.
I like Dr. Pepper a lot, so I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all, but I don't feel like a boom berry flavor when I hit it. So
reminds me of an ex-boyfriend. I love that.
Yeah.
Smells of Dr. Pepper.
Well, guys, I say we dig in a little bit. There was a lot of news. What are you smoking there today, Klump?
It's Warped Guardian of the Farm Special Edition. I had a local shop. I was like, oh, I'll try it. Warped's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Nice.
Not bad. All right.
It's really earthy.
Maybe we should do birthdays before we get into all this serious talk.
Yeah, let's do nice things.
Yeah, let's get into birthdays. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, let's do nice things. And the first person I was going to say is rest in peace, Ultimate Warrior. Or if you don't like him, yeah, good riddance.
Well, depending on your opinion, yeah.
That's a complex one.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't deny his influence, and I appreciate that at the very least, the character of the Ultimate Warrior has been pushed in a very motivational sense. The always believe, the fight like a warrior, like those things I appreciate that they were able to do, not because the man Jim Hellwig deserved that sort of legacy, but I felt like because the character did and the fans did. I feel like that was a service to the fans, so we didn't have to turn off the love for the character that we had growing up. We were able to just shift it into a focus on the character and split it almost directly from the man. And I appreciate that because, like you said, controversial and either happy birthday or good riddance, depending on how you feel. But, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. I appreciate what they've done with the character legacy, you know?
Yeah, but I really wish that they'd renamed the award after Shad Gaspard. Because,
I get the argument.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's missing the point to change the name.
I know.
You know what I mean? And I also think that there's a back and forth where it's like, oh, this person's winning the Warrior Award because they fight like a warrior and all that stuff. Not saying you couldn't get the point across with a Chad Gaspard Award, and I agree with you that he deserves to be recognized and remembered forever. And I do think that when you're thinking about branding and stuff, if you have something called the Chad Gaspard Award, the kind of nice thing that would also be the complicated part is that you'd have to explain every year who Chad Gaspard is, who he was, and anytime a fan brought it up, they'd get the opportunity to talk about him, which I think could be a beneficial byproduct of renaming it too. But I'm just saying I understand the complicatedness of it. But
that's a hard one. I will say today is filled with a lot of birthdays. Happy birthday to the Sandman. That was kind of cool seeing Sandman do some appearances at WrestleCon a couple years ago, and that was really cool. Along with we've got hold on, I just lost this. One of my personal favorites, and I guess his birthday present was he lost the tag team championship. Happy birthday, Jungle Boy.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, I mean, personally, we'll get into it later. I have thoughts on that, but whatever. But happy birthday, Jungle Boy. Brandon Cutler, our stooge. Happy birthday, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he rolls a 20 today.
Yeah. Hopefully get a win there. Tom Pritchard's having a birthday this week.
Dr. Tom.
Dr. Tom. Love Dr. Tom. Lynn Garcia is having a birthday this week.
Awesome.
I think one of independent wrestling's like women's secret gems. Such a trailblazer, cheerleader Melissa. Happy birthday, girlfriend. Gosh, we have so many people I don't even know. Byron Saxton is having a birthday this week. Whoa.
Nice.
Bruiser Brody's having a
Yeah.
Bruiser Brody. Let's celebrate that.
Yeah.
One I really want to say and I say this, I'll say it in the sweetest way I can. It's happy birthday, Murder Grandpa.
Yes.
That's cool.
I really think that Forbidden Door is really missing something from not having him there again. I mean,
I thought they booked him for on this Dynamite. I thought they stuck him in like a 6-man tag or some shit. I'll pull it up.
I think that was Desperado from Suzuki Gun.
All right, I'll look.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I'm also like, damn, you didn't bring fucking Kota Ibushi. But whatever. Coco Beware, have a birthday. I loved Coco Beware when I was a child. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's maybe Suzuki, Jericho, and Sammy against Yuta, Umino, and Kingston.
Oh, Murder Grandpa.
Yeah, he's teaming with Jericho, so that sucks. But
yeah,
you know, at least he'll be there.
Yeah. I didn't like how Jericho was trying to impose himself on Tanahashi.
I didn't like a lot of that.
No way. And Sammy Guevara, shame on you taking Fuego's outfit and using Fuego like that. Shame on you. Anywho's.
Does that make him Fuego 3?
I think so.
Yeah.
That could be. We have to look on that one. I'll have to.
Fuego Trace, actually, probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know who else is having a birthday? Pac.
That's cool.
Pac. Happy birthday, dude. With the ears.
Yep.
Yeah, with the ears. And shout out to the Usos. Happy birthday.
Which one is having a birthday?
Both.
What are the odds?
Yeah, Jimmy and Jay. Aren't they? I thought they were twins.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
Yeah.
God damn you, Marsh.
That could be a catchphrase for the show we should use. God damn it, Marsh.
God damn it, Marsh.
Yeah, we just need to figure out a good design. That's awesome. Cheers to the Oos.
Oos.
Let's see. Oh, I'm going to throw this out here before we get into a lot of the new stuff. Just happened about an hour ago. MLW crowned its inaugural Women's World Featherweight Champion in a match with Holiday versus Taya Valkyrie, the winner and your new champion, Taya Valkyrie. So, really cool. It's probably a match worth going back to watch, I'm going to be honest with you. The two of them together sounds great.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I love Taya. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that everyone thought she'd go kind of the obvious route and go AEW, but no, I'm glad that she's doing other things. So
yeah, she's kind of a crazy anomaly when you think about it. Like everything she does out like on the indies and in every company has been so solid and so good, and it's like she's built for WWE. She signs up, shows up in NXT, and nothing she did clicked or worked, and it was all awkward, and it was just kind of tough to watch because you knew that this isn't what we knew. You know what I mean? I was kind of talking about it earlier today. I was talking about how impressed I was at Roxanne for coming off like such a natural, but also trying not to negate the history that she's had in wrestling thus far, right? ROH and ROW and stuff. But that doesn't always translate over, and I used Taya Valkyrie as an example. You know, like she just didn't work for whatever reason, just didn't click.
Well,
so
I think Taya was also protecting her brand. So that's why you got Frankie Monet. I mean, because that's the only other reason why. And it was just such an awkward, thing, because when you think of Taya Valkyrie, you do not think of that character in that light. You think of, Vera Loca, and, so it's a hard one.
Yeah, it was tough. But, yeah, congratulations, Taya Valkyrie, MLW Women's Champ. Other news stuff. We'll get into the. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on it real quick because a lot came out already. The Jeff Hardy stuff. He got 3 times the legal limit blood alcohol level, was pulled over, arrested. He's been suspended indefinitely from AEW without pay, they say, until he completes any kind of program.
They did officially announce he's been suspended?
Yeah, I'll pull it up for you. I'll get you the verbiage. But yeah.
I think it's the move you need to do is suspend him, because unfortunately, and like a part of this that started out when he left WWE that was very frustrating to me was the amount of support for him leaving, where people use the this ill-informed logic that he was being forced into something, and he knows what's best for himself and he's leaving. And he has always the autonomy to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
It's not a doing what's best for yourself, but it's a place that cares. And I'll be honest, I feel like WWE has a bit of knowledge with substance abuse with their people, and they're not throwing somebody into this lightly, Yeah. And that should have been maybe the key takeaway here, because we've seen other people who've had run-ins that haven't been forced to go to rehab, or haven't had these conversations, or haven't had this situation around them. And him going to AEW, I mean, one, he goes there and it doesn't look good. He's not at the level. It seemed odd, and for this to happen so rapidly after, it's upsetting. Also, I mean, more so, like, as we see these incidents with Jeff, and these have all, the past 3 years have been really rough for him. Why the fuck doesn't he get an Uber? There's no excuse here. Yeah. It's tragic, and it's crushing his legacy, and it, really kicks the shit out of these arguments we were seeing for, like, well, WWE's being too cautious and this and that, and he's, he knows what's going on. No, the dude's got problems that he needs to, unfortunately, fix it. He needs to hit bottom.
I saw one notable, like, someone with a really wide voice, someone who's very, very notable, made the comment when Jeff Hardy left that if he had grounds to sue WWE for libel, for slandering his name because he didn't fail a drug test when the results came back. And they're so anti-WWE that that's what their thought is. Oh, he should sue them for suggesting he needed rehab. It's like fucking crazy. And then that same person wants to take a fucking high horse on their show now, being like, it's just hard to feel sympathy, it's embarrassment, someone needs to stop him. And it was this whole thing where it's all like, I agree, but you're getting there late, because a lot of people, and I've seen even people complain when people are taking this story and saying, let's talk AEW versus WWE and how that affects these things. When you let your like passion for a company or a hatred for a company determine when you will or won't, it voids the conversation, because the conversation can be had. Was he showing signs then, and what was it like? Was he showing signs at AEW, or was WWE, do they have a better wellness policy, or do they have better eyes on it that maybe something that AEW could adapt? Like, you could have a positive conversation saying that both may have failed him in their own ways. How do they both get better at not, right? Like, maybe WWE didn't fail him by sending him on his way, and maybe AEW did. What can AEW learn and get better from? But trying to pretend like AEW is completely void of the entire conversation because of your fervent hatred for WWE. But when WWE offered him rehab and saying that, no, the conversation is WWE fucked up, like,
no,
you're not having the conversation either way, and there is a conversation to be had here.
Yeah.
Right before we get Amanda's takes, I know she's ready for it. I do want to read it to you, Klump, the statement that they put out, Tony Khan did, late in the day, honestly. But it says, we were able to resume contact with Jeff Hardy this afternoon. AEW does not condone Jeff's alleged behavior. We've made it clear to Jeff that we'll assist him in getting treatment for substance abuse issues, which he has indicated that he's open to receiving. In the interim, he is suspended without pay, and he can only return to AEW upon successfully completing treatment and maintaining his sobriety. If you or a loved one needs help, please reach out to SAMHSA's National Helpline. Leave the phone number, Tony Khan, President CEO, AEW. And the number is, for anyone listening, the number is 1-800-662-HELP, which is 4357. So 1-800-662-HELP for National Helpline. I felt like I skipped over it, and that was probably unfair, so I wanted to say the number. Go ahead.
Amanda, I'll let you go first because I got things to say right now.
I find it very interesting that Tony would put this statement out. This industry has a lot of people with a lot of demons and a lot of things that, I don't know, cause what people do. And I really think that at the end of the day, it's hard because when I look at everything and I see with Jeff, and it's something that it's known that he has a problem, and I'll take it back to even with Jimmy Havoc. He's known to have a problem. Look at Mox. He has or had, I don't want to, whatever, has a problem. And, I think that it's kind of, I'll just use this term, it's kind of bullshit, I think, how Tony kind of handles some of this stuff. Going back to the whole thing with Sammy Guevara, like, you made him take, some stupid classes about whatever. Do you think he's learned? No, absolutely not. That was like a slap on the wrist. It almost seems like you want to help certain people, but you don't want to help anyone else. Like, for example, Jake Atlas. Sorry, gonna go there. Unfortunately, he's having drinking problems, but also he has a lot of mental health issues, and it's like, this was a guy that was on the verge of, he was going to be a megastar for Tony Khan, but you fucking fed him to one of these hurdy injury type of people with Adam Cole. And that broke, I'm not speaking for Jake, but I'm just saying that would break my heart too. When your dream is taken away from you, when WWE released him, and, you didn't want to even do this again, and then you found the courage again to, what, this is what I love and I'm going to do, and this shit happens. Yeah. I don't, know exactly with Jeff what his, what his thing is, but, it's really kind of sad that I think that I feel like Tony just kind of picks and chooses who, gets what.
He could definitely be more aware. The conversation online had been for quite some time since Jeff got there that, you need to be careful of it. And people were saying that he looked out of it here and there. Do we know that he's good? Like, the conversation was being had before this happened.
Well, when they had the Bucks match, he couldn't remember over 50% of it. And that should
supposedly none of it.
Song right there. Oh, none of it? Oh, I thought it was 50%. But regardless, obviously there's some kind of, injury. And if it's driving him to drink or whatever, because, that's his kind of narcotic of choice, to get rid of pain, then, then you have to kind of look at, what are those situations around it? Is it because, like, what he does is really, really dangerous? And if you're getting to a point where you can't remember parts of matches or the whole thing, that's scary. No. So, I just kind of feel like, yes, he needs his help, but it also is a shame on Tony Khan of, obviously, there were things going on with Jeff and you can see, but Tony Khan, I think, got greedy and was like, oh, I can bring the Hardy Boys back together, la la la.
He wanted the big stunts for his video packages, because that was the other thing, is that he was booking Jeff every week and putting him in a ladder match every week.
Yeah, and
even at the height of the Hardy Boys, they didn't have a ladder match every week.
Oh, No.
They had a lot. I'm not going to say WWE played no factor in the lifespan of Jeff Hardy and his dependency on chemicals, but in the later years, the latter years, like he had 2 ladder spots the whole last run that he had, and one of those, there's a really good chance he landed on a crash pad. The bar one, the one that was in the bar, like I remember he jumps off of it and it cuts. Because I remember we were all talking about, I was like, do you think he hit a crash pad? And I was like, probably for the best that he does. You know what I mean? Like, I remember talking about it. But here he was, 20 feet in the air on the ground. Here was Darby, 20 feet in the air onto him. Like, you got to at least space it out. Give him time to recoup, I would think.
It's like sucking blood out of a turnip.
Yeah.
You know? So
Klump?
that's all I got to say on that.
I agree there. I think in it, I didn't think too much about that part of it too. That there's a feeling, there's a taking advantage that seems to be happening. That, you know, in trying to have these moments that we had 20 years ago and we love, we're not acknowledging that maybe those moments 20 years ago weren't the best for the person in the long term, and that nobody is who they were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, Hardy, yes, in more recent times in WWE, his story was really interesting, and I hated it in the beginning, and I said that to, you know, loudly, but it was, you know, much more narrative based, and his matches still had spots, but they did safety. Tony Khan and AEW, they seem so focused on this nostalgia pop that they're, I mean, I'm sure they do it as safely as they can, but they don't spread them out because they're also putting them out so fast, and so far we've seen them go south a fair amount of times.
I mean, not just nostalgia, but also just the car crash spots. I mean, you got someone cutting themselves on live TV every week, and it's not even being well hidden.
No, 100%. Or, you know, somebody taking a really shitty bump on pay-per-view that should have stopped a match, and instead we fuck around for a while and then continue it. That's it's scary moments, and it makes me more appreciative of when things, if something does happen, a response that's immediate and stops the match.
Yes.
And
we were talking about it briefly about the Hell in a Cell match, Cody versus Seth. The fan base, I mean, that was in Chicago. The fan base in Chicago has been getting dumped with AEW nonstop. In that match, Cody's sitting there wrestling. You saw him. We all talked about it. He's out there just in shambles. As good guy as it gets. Seth Rollins whipping him with a leather belt. Seth Rollins pulls out a table, and the crowd starts chanting, "Thank you, Seth," because they wanted a table so bad. They weren't even lost in the story that Cody's in the most severe legitimate pain that you've ever watched a man be in. But fuck, if he doesn't go through a table, what does it matter? You know what I mean? Like, talk about desensitizing an audience.
Absolutely. I mean, and you can do a lot to show, like, the fandom. You have these weird extremes where and it presents in different matchups. They want blood and gore and Gaga in Hell in a Cell or a cage, and then they also appreciate, really, you know, just, I think it's honestly just names. They appreciate any match that's going longer, like they feel like they have to because it's going long, which isn't bad necessarily, but, you know, you gotta balance it out because we don't need these hits. You know, we don't need these, you know, events because, you know, I'm now thinking about what Amanda said, that how much of what happened here to Jeff was based or was caused by this long story history of, you know, injuries and stuff, you know, because before alcohol, there was a lot of pills that he got arrested with, events like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
And all of those, I mean, I hate saying all of those, but it feels like a lot of the old timers, all of them with the big problem of drugs and why a lot of them are dead now is, I mean, but if you think about what some of these guys do now versus back then, that's like some crazy ass shit that they do. Because you don't see people doing these like 920 or whatever the fuck. I don't do math, so, but you don't see that. You didn't see that. You didn't see these guys like jump off of, stupid things like a jumbotron or whatever, right? You don't see that.
And even that, if you want to go into that, even with Shane McMahon, he did it once a year. He would do one big. That's why he would disappear for 6-7 months, because he did his one bump and he had to fucking recoup. Because like if you don't stop and take care of it, you end up in these spirals. I would think. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, it's a really sad story at this point, and a lot of people are trying to say that Tony and AEW is doing everything right, and I'm not saying they did everything wrong, but I am saying that to stop the conversation from how do we do this better is foolish and silly, and to think that neither company, I think the company should work together with him, to be honest. I think both companies need to be talking with him, and they both need to be talking about what they can do for him and figure it out, because he's this way because of the business end of the story. Like, everyone needs to be trying to get him through this, and if that means he never wrestles again, that's fine, because I think I'd rather see him at meet and greets and see him painting stuff and singing songs that he cares about than see him behind bars or dead.
No, I'd rather see him doing that and have people around him caring about him and taking care of him than him drinking and it being a really clear sign that something's wrong. Like, the video of him at the show where he's like, "This is my mute," like, it was like he was like,
Whiskey's my best friend and my worst enemy, as he takes a double shot of Fireball.
And someone should have been like, "Then what the fuck are you doing?" Like, and I think it's if ever there was an argument for like the idea of a performers union, it would be for things like this, like companies need to work together to take care of each other or take care of talent, because you shouldn't have a situation where somebody's leaving a place and going somewhere else because like, I could just don't have to be worry about being checked out, or they want me for this and don't care about the baggage of me, or that argument when it's not baggage, it's we want your ass alive.
100%. Splinter Fox showing up in the chat. He's got a little Colt Cabana waving. He says, "Long time no see. Karma got CM Punk, I see." Yep. And we're actually going to bring that up a little bit too. He says, Jeff's brains might be the issue. I just wish the best for him. The falls he took, or concussions, the whiplash still can damage your brain tissue. So, he's taken a lot of concussions. I mean, that's what also kind of, I'm be honest with you, dude, I think the most disgusting thing I've seen out of all this is the way Matt Hardy's been dealing with all of it. He fucking tweeted during the Dynamite match and saying, "It pains me not to be in this match, but don't worry, I'll bounce back." And I'm like, yeah, dude, because that's what we're all real concerned about, is you bouncing back. Because it's your fucking issue. It's your problem that you're in. The fact that him and his wife are like making jokes about it online and their fucking TikTok. But
to an extent, but you go ahead, and I'll jump in.
Yeah, so he says on the show, his little podcast, which first off, he's like, this podcast, we're going to talk about mental health issues and addiction, and it's a real good one you're going to want to listen to. I'm like, great, yeah, get your fucking ads. And then he said about that match you brought up earlier with the Young Bucks. He got concussed immediately, and he goes, we were just basically dragging him through the match and coaching him through. He had no idea what was going on. He's a soldier. Like, you're not alarmed by this? And then, like Splinter Fox says, how many concussions this guy got to go through before someone just goes, oh shit, is this worth it in this moment? And fucking doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Klump.
It's not a good look, but the only thing I'll say to Matt and to his wife in what they're saying is, I'll also give the possibility there that this story has been a part of their personal life, and they've been maybe struggling with this. And there's a point where they're done too. You know what I mean? Like, there's a possibility that they're, they've had these conversations with Jeff. They've tried to do this, and they're like, you know what, this is fucked, And as much as they're trying to do what they can, it's like, yeah, his actions are affecting my life now, which maybe shouldn't be the case, but also, I agree, maybe not the best way of addressing it.
They were with him when he was drinking, and there was a ton of evidence that supports that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the show was them together.
Yes. Yep. And he's right. Like, it's ridiculous. And so, like, for them to be, oh, well, it just sucks, man. All of it sucks. And it's just a bummer. And at 0.294 or whatever it was, there's no excuse. You have enough money to get an Uber. You're supposed to be there with your brother, and for Matt to be so fucking vocal the whole time that he was getting his release about how horrible WWE is, how nobody knows what's best for Jeff but him and Jeff, and here we are.
Yeah, I know.
Like, what, 2 months later? Like, fuck, dude.
And then
I want to shake them both.
Yeah. Well, and as much as I say, like, maybe it's a middle ground for Matt, I agree with that. It's like you were trying to push for him to get out, but when things go south with him, you're like, let me just bounce away from this.
Yeah. It's shitty, man. It sucks because I've had to bury two really close friends, and it sucks when there's nothing you can do about it, and they're surrounded by people who could do something about it or didn't even try to do something about it. And I don't want anyone in that circle to go through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who weren't sitting there at the gravesite with me, who were not telling stories about the last time they drank together real positively. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's just fucking stupid. It's just stupid. Get him his help. Keep him out of the ring. If pain is part of it, and he's always been very clear that pain management was a massive part of why he was abusing to begin with, stop letting him hurt himself. Stop asking him to hurt himself. The fans, he's already as beloved as anyone can ever get. And he's teetering on the edge of becoming despised. Because people don't like drunk drivers, man. They just don't. Spinnerfox says, I really want to believe Matt is not leeching on his brother, but the signs are there. I just hope Jeff gets the proper help he gets. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I want to hear that both companies are getting involved. They're both sending experts. They're both pitching in what they can. I don't know.
I agree.
I think everyone needs to be reaching out to him, and everyone needs to be helping him, because if he's finally open to it, then we need to jump on it while he is. So it just sucks. But I guess time will tell how that plays out. He's looking at a number of years in prison potentially, and a massive fine, and so it could end up being out of his hands altogether. And if that's what it is, it's what it is.
Absolutely.
Anything else on that for anybody?
I'm good there.
Yeah. Well, let's move it along. What's your next topic there, Klump?
Okay, so my next one I wanted to throw out was, so the past 24 hours we've heard a fair amount about Vince, and there's a internal investigation of the company of $3 million in hush money being paid to a employee pertaining to a possible intimate contact. There's a lot to be made of it. There's a lot of things that could be. And I won't go too far into that because there's a lot of stories about that. And I'll say it when you're seeing it put in publications outside of our small niche world, when it's in publications like ESPN and the Wall Street Journal broke it, then there's a fair amount of weight to it. These are organizations that have a lot of, journalistic integrity. You have, do something wrong, your ass gets fired, and they don't like to do retractions, or retractions have a lot of weight to them. And in journalism, real journalism credibility is your blood.
Yes.
You don't have a lot of it. It's not transfusible.
Yep.
That said, out of that, the internet wrestling community and the blogs that serve us, the dirt sheets that really, in this case, showed that they are not journalists, they don't have a lot of weight, through so much speculation now.
Yeah,
any
on that
company.
same note, dude, I think if I don't think the Wall Street Journal missed something. I think that's what's crazy right now is what everyone's trying to figure out. What didn't they get? Or maybe they got it all and they wrote about it all. Go ahead.
Exactly. And if they... My background in college, I went to school for journalism. I learned from people who won Pulitzer Prizes and people who worked at the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, who did amazing work. And a big thing that was echoed to us and taught to us over and over was you never leave a stone unturned. You look as much as you can, but you don't... If you have a story and you have, if the story is something that's possibly libelous or will get your ass in trouble or is fake, you don't report it. You go with what you got. And if they had a story that possibly included what some of these people on the internet wrestling community, and you can go out and read, is going into, I'm sorry, I don't think the Washington Post would leave possible criminal activity out. They'd go into that. If there's any possible truth to it, they'd look at it and they'd talk about it. Because we've heard so much about Vince McMahon and his life. Mm-hmm. He's a monumental figure in wrestling, in business, and we would heard so much about it. Because stories about him and his family have been written outside of wrestling that we've all hated a bit because they've been characterizations of the business owner, of the family, of the politics. And those go outside of this. But to see within our own community, they've really focused in on, well, what could this be? And it, to me, it's again this weird amalgamation of what Vince is to wrestling being mixed with, we're applying the attributes of the character to the businessman.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, well, he could do something so sleazy, so terrible, and looking for everything there because of, we think, we still attach Vince McMahon, the character, to Vince McMahon, the business owner.
Yeah.
And
that's not to say that whatever happened in his business isn't necessarily bad news. Like, it does sound like, it sounds like that the Wall Street Journal was able to dig up that he's been under investigation internally for over 2 months. Dirt Sheets just caught wind of it when the Wall Street Journal dropped it, which means that they're not journalists.
Yeah.
The other thing is they dropped that yesterday in the Dirt Sheets. Today they dropped an article saying word is that it's business as usual backstage at WWE. Like there was going to be a different thing. It's been going on for 2 months, and all of your people who tell you whatever they tell you, all your friends backstage, had no idea.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because it's been business as usual.
And that's how a company works, especially a large company. We've both worked together at a large company, and when things happen in a large company, it doesn't affect your day-to-day life. What happens with another employee? That's HR. That's what human resources is for. They, work with the employees, the parties involved, and they go from there. And if something happens, if you work at Tesla and there's something going on with Elon Musk, well, that shouldn't affect your day-to-day operations if you're building a fucking car, should it?
Right. Yeah.
And that's to be expected. If, it's also why when you're interviewing, when you're looking for information regarding the source, you don't go to a Target store because the CEO of Target did something. You're not talking to well, this person who's stocking clothes says this. They don't know.
Yeah. Even with someone as hands-on as Vince. But that's what's kind of funny is that, you said, that's to be expected. Because I was saying yesterday on episode 1 that I was like, I think the journalists, the little news outlets, they're going to be really upset when they find out that this blows over. Because Splinter Fox is asking some questions in here that they're bringing up too. He goes, what if this is what if this is it? What if the board forces out Vince, and with all of his family out of the company already, and Triple H Health is what it is, it'll be owned by the con dude that had been forcing the firing of all those talents. Which, by the way, I also don't think that Nick Khan was going into business for himself, blindly firing a ton of talent that no one knew about. And he goes, could we really see the fall of WWE at the hands of Vince? And I think the answer to that is not from this. This is a very simple conversation that is the kind of thing that happens in corporate America all the fucking time. You have a dude who works 40 hours a day, 7 days a week. You have a dude who sleeps 3 hours a night. He doesn't go anywhere else. If he's on the outs with his wife, he's going to find someone close. If it was consensual as it's being reported, then that's just where that's going to happen. And if they end up splitting, sometimes there's a severance pay to begin with. So maybe there's a payoff just to keep her quiet. I don't know, because he's also a celebrity and a billionaire. So sometimes those things come with NDAs and big payouts because, hey, just to make sure that you don't try to sell the story to the Sun or the Wall Street Journal, I'm going to do this extra thing. You know what I mean? Like that happens. So I said yesterday, I was like, I think it's going to be business as usual, and they're going to be really upset about that. And then today it was like, it's business as usual. We can't understand it. And I'm like, yeah. Like you said, these guys don't know business.
100%. Like, and building off of that too, they don't know business. They don't get this, and wrestling is truly unique among forms of entertainment in that we treat every part of it as it's got to be part of kayfabe or the story.
Yeah.
When there's a lot of mundaneness to it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, the Jeff Hardy story, they have real world parts and they have wrestling parts, and those worlds don't necessarily have to connect. They also the you don't need to look for motivation or reason or hints in one for the other.
Yeah.
And beyond this too, like the idea of the consensual relationship part and things there, like there's a lot, you know, you and I both talked about this, and you know, that happens a lot with a lot of people. And that happens in a lot of companies. I mean, big and small. I worked at a automotive dealership where, boy, oh boy, was that a thing that happened with people where it's like, holy shit, people are doing this? Like, and it happens. And it's whatever, you know?
Yep.
But when you have a name, you do things. You know, do things to protect yourself and handle things. Shit, it happened with a former president. It happened with several former presidents.
Yep.
With both parties. I'm not knocking one or the other.
Yep. Every president's had their share.
Yeah. But, and it's just, it's shitty. It's shitty how it's gone. And to that end, what I really wanted to get into is how the internet wrestling community went off the rails. And started, you know, throwing out theories and ideas of what happened, and you know, we're going to take this as time to bash Vince. And again, I'll say this, we don't know a lot about Vince. We wish we knew more. If we tell-all books of Vince's life would be the most amazing story ever. And would probably leave you with a much more complex view of the man, positive and negative. But then again, what billionaire business owner wouldn't that be the case with?
Yeah, you're talking about a different type of human.
Exactly. You're talking about a guy who took a pretty niche, interesting thing that was in small venues across the country and made it a national entertainment juggernaut. One of the most desired properties in entertainment, because even though we talk about loss of viewership, 2 million viewers a week still fucking great.
It's more than the Stanley Cup got.
Exactly. You know, and that's something amazing. And I'm sure there's skeletons in his closet. I'm sure there's things that are really sad and fucked up and dark. I'm sure there's a lot of bad moments. But
and with that in mind, I want to say that there's probably all that stuff, and the thing is that none of that is new to the board. So the idea of the board forcing him out, I don't see that happening. He is too much hand in hand with WWE. You need a lot worse than something like this. Not that this isn't necessarily bad, but it does sound like two adults doing a thing in an unprofessional setting, which can easily be solved without everyone getting fired. You know what I mean?
I mean, and to that end too of this happened with Bill Gates. This happened. Yeah. This has happened before and time and again, and it doesn't really knock them. It doesn't, you know, or it's not great, but it doesn't. It isn't the evil that we want it. That some people want it to be. And beyond this, today there was a lot of stories about Kevin Dunn got thrown out for selling stock because some person sold a lot of stock, and
They
it was
accused him of insider trading.
Yes, they accused him of insider trading, of selling a bunch of stock before this story came out. And here's the thing, though: one, couple hours thereafter, they reported that stock probably was sold a few months ago, and stock has to hold before it sells in large amounts because of SEC filings, which he did.
Yep.
So
And
what's the? Go ahead.
the stock in and of itself was being announced. They knew it was upcoming too, so the timing of it, like, it was being announced that the goal target price for the stock that was at 60 was being moved to 75, which means the stock was the highest it had been in almost 3 years. It hasn't stayed at that height. I sold on the same day that Kevin Dunn did because I was like, oh shit, I'm not in the red for the first time in 3 years. I'm going to go ahead, cut bait. Thing is, he's got a lot more stock than I had, but I didn't lose money on it. He made money on it, right? But he also sold less than 1/20th of his entire stock. It was maybe just a good time to grab a fucking house down payment. You know what I mean? Stocks are there to be sold and bought, right? He's also not on the board, they determined, so he couldn't have known that other stuff. So it's not there's so many things that stop it from being insider trading and maybe just some dude selling some of his stock.
Coincidence. Merely coincidence.
Yeah, and then for the dirt sheets to just start saying he's an insider trader is okay, maybe this is why Wall Street Journal didn't report that, because it's not the case. I do want to welcome, because it looks like he's made it, Shakes Montana. What's up, Shakes?
Hey, what's going on? I'll be on video soon, but I was enjoying the conversation because I really don't know exactly the details of what's going on with Vince McMahon and why is he trending right now.
Yeah.
So I was just enjoying and trying to get a grasp of what was going on.
Yeah, no, dude, and that's kind of a big thing is we get so frustrated on the Twitter because you just see a lack of communication and a lack of conversation, and so yeah, when we bring up topics here, it's let's talk about multiple sides of it. Let's have the conversation. Does it mean what it looks like it means, or are we overreacting? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So can somebody just briefly explain it to me, what's going on?
So it looks, the Wall Street Journal reported that he was in a consensual relationship with a paralegal. The paralegal ended up leaving the company and was cut a $3 million check, signed a non-disclosure. Her friend emailed the board saying that this happened, and so for the past 2 months, the company WWE has been investigating the conduct of Vince McMahon. None of the money that was spent was company money; it was personal money. But having a boss with a subordinate is always something that's going to require HR intervention one way or the other.
Oh, okay.
If you're a reputable company.
Yeah, I mean that's the short end of what it really is. Everyone else is speculating a lot of other things, but those are the words that were in the Wall Street Journal one. You know.
Yeah, I'd before. I don't know. David Vixen's band. I'm going there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And other so-called wrestling journalists.
Yeah.
You know what I have a problem with? Is that people are so intrigued about what goes on in other people's bedrooms.
Yes.
I cannot understand and get a grasp of that. I do not care nor want to know what the hell Klump is doing in his bedroom in his free time. I don't want to know. I don't care.
Don't ask him.
Right?
Here's the thing is he'll tell you, do not ask him. He's very open.
Don't. Please don't unmute Klump.
Yeah, I'm going to mute him just to be sure. Yeah.
Wow. Could you cut his video?
Visual, right? Right. Great visual. We got it. We understood. Somebody hire him. But
yeah, it's that fascination.
Twitter.
But yeah, I just don't understand the infatuation with people and what they do in their bedroom. I really just I don't care, and she's coming up with this, but why? Why are you coming out with this? You want
Yeah,
money?
that's
Like, what do
what's
you
weird about it
want?
too. Is it's her friend that's coming out with it. It's not even
Okay.
the woman involved.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I think is even
It's
crazier about it. But
always
yeah,
that third party. Yeah, it's
yeah,
always that
it's a
third
third
party.
party. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think honestly, what you might see is whoever leaked the fact that the board is investigating. I think you see somebody get fired, but it's that person, not Vince. Like I think someone's all like, "Oh, you're just telling everybody the board's business, huh?"
Oh, you
Like I
just
think,
let that out, huh? Yeah,
yeah,
okay. We
yeah,
have a mole.
Or you just want it
We
thrown.
have a mole.
yeah. But that's my hunch on it. I mean, and like Klump said, there's a lot of details we don't know. Been a lot of evidence that the go-to source for what's happening in kayfabe that believe they're real journalists are really showing their ass on this one as they tried so hurriedly to be the ones to dig up information that they're out there slandering people and need to be real fucking careful about that because some of them get in trouble for that, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just kind of nuts, man. It's kind of nuts. That's what's going on with them. Anything Vince specific from anybody else? No. All right, I'm gonna move to the next topic.
Fire.
Yeah, yeah, fired. Sprinter Fox does has a question here, and Klump, after this, you have to let me know if you have any other news. But this is one that was more in the news than it was on show. So, what's the deal with Sasha Banks? Been hearing lawyers are involved to get her released from her contract. Where is she going to go? AEW can't pay her the amount she wants. Would be wild to see Banks in Stardom. That would be crazy. That's Splinter Fox in the chat. I'll be honest. I think that if Banks is released, it's not because WWE wants her to go. I think if her lawyers do get her released, it's not because she wants to go wrestle. I really don't think that we'd see a Sasha Banks in another company. I think that how do you go from being the legit boss, the boss of the biggest division, the main event of WrestleMania, to I guess I'll start helping this other company? It would just, I think it would be, with as much respect as possible, a perceived step down that I don't think she needs to do. I think when she knows she can pivot into something like a Hollywood, that's a step up. Where if you pivot to a smaller company where people are going, oh, you'll be good for that company needs someone like you to get to the next level. Is she there to get someone else to the next level? Or is she there to get herself onto the next level because of a higher platform? You know what I mean? Like, that's my hunch. But yeah, I heard that too, that the lawyers are trying to get her released, which is also interesting because is there really a non-compete when it comes to WWE as far as Hollywood goes? I think maybe, right? Because they own
No.
the WWE movies, right?
No. I don't think so. It's a little different.
I mean,
I don't think that
there
happened.
was. It could vary. I know with The Rock, there was a reason he ultimately let his contract end with WWE. And it depends on the contract, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. And I
Well,
think the WWE has to approve stuff that they do.
Yeah.
I think that.
And I
even-
think that you
Yeah,
probably nailed it there. Very simply, is that WWE has to approve what they do and when, and that might be why. If when she worked on The Mandalorian, there was had to be communication with her schedule and stuff like that, and making it work. I'm sure if that's the case, that might be more than anything. The reason is if somebody's done, they
Yeah.
don't want to have a barrier on what they do for work.
Yeah, I want to do what I want to do. It's a very Sasha Banks thing to say. You know what I mean?
and the thing about Sasha Banks to me is that, like, this is not her first time of just going on this whole hiatus, or I don't think like she's a person that is, oh, I need to go to a big company to be relevant. I think she is just fine going back to Japan, or going to China and doing her thing wherever she wants to do it. Like, she's not that, oh, I need to be in the spotlight,
Mm-hmm.
look at me type of person. She's a straight, I grew up loving and watching WWE. I am a wrestler. That's who she is.
Yeah.
So, to me, I don't think it's a thing of maybe AEW can dangle a carrot and say, hey, come over here, but I don't think that it's a thing of she needs that spotlight or she needs that big machine, that big company behind her. She can go to the smallest company and she'll be well content and do her
Yes.
thing because she just loves to wrestle.
Yeah, and to be honest, when she took her last hiatus, she wanted to wrestle Maiko Satomura and went to Japan to train with her and did so. And now, like,
Exactly.
if you were to think about it, I could see theoretically her doing something like Jericho did his first NJPW run, showing up and going for the biggest star on the card and saying, we're going to have a big match in Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom, and, one and done kind of a deal. Obviously, Jericho kept doing a thing. But I don't know now that Satomura is in NXT UK, I don't know that Sasha has a name anymore like that. Maybe, probably, but I don't know.
I'm sure there's some. But what this opens up because they'll pay is if she does wrestle anywhere, I have a feeling she would wrestle at Warrior Wrestling because they like to throw money at people. But Tony wouldn't know what to do with it. He's already blown a lot of money and pissed people off. Yeah. So, but I really think it's Hollywood that's calling her. Because she was good in Mandalorian. Yeah.
I think so too. That's just my hunch. I don't think she would do something like a local promotion, except for like what Shake said. I could see her doing something like Japan, specifically, and a couple specific matches that she wants. But I don't see her just joining a company and doing a bunch of random matches. I just don't see it.
Yes, Martin Squirrel's my mail message. I know.
That's funny.
Hold on, I'll be right.
Well, and I think to a thing we've seen with Sasha so much has been she's very determined to control her narrative. She's very determined to control what she does in the story that she tells in the ring. So if she were to leave WWE to work somewhere, it would be on her terms to be what she wants to do, which is fucking great. That's the best way to go. Though here, I think there's a lot of elements to this that we don't know. And again, it's the world of WWE and wrestling fandom and learning and conspiracy thing, which we all love. It's part of what we do here. But fun. We also, what I like about us is we also kind of treat with a grain of salt versus like, that's definitely what the fuck's happened.
Yeah, it's not all that serious, and some people take it way serious. And I know that we're not as lively as some, but
hey, wait a minute. I was way serious when we talked on episode 1 about my WWE land when the cock acquired them.
Yeah, no, definitely WWE land needs to take place.
Yep.
No. But yeah, Shakes or Splinter Fox. Actually, he's got another question about injuries. We'll get back to that one. We'll circle back. But he says Banks, the movie star. He goes, AEW is getting shady with the women's division. They're getting worse. Displeased with that. I'm worried about Athena. Does she get squashed by Jade and stays in catering with Ruby? I think the answer is yes. He said Banks versus Gulia would be amazing. Am I saying that right? Anybody know who that is? No? All right. Says that Banks could be the Mox and just wrestle anywhere she wants. He says he's been listening to Mox's book on Audible. He is reading too. It's awesome. Those are the only audiobooks I get is when they read their own books. I'd be really curious to know what Mox thinks about the book in its entirety a few months, maybe a year or two into his sobriety. I want to know what he thinks about it, because I think that a lot of that was written under the influence and just makes me wonder how he looks back on it. Yeah, Sasha Banks, I don't know. We'll see. No more rumors out there but those ones. Any other takes on the Banks thing? Anybody?
I'm more curious about Naomi.
Yeah, me too. We've not heard a peep about Naomi.
Yeah. I mean...
And that's one person who could go somewhere else and probably really shine.
Yeah.
She also could retire now and be fine too. Like, she's always talked about wanting to have a family.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the big stretch either. If she just takes the opportunity, Klump, did you have another news topic?
Oh, I'm good.
All right, let's talk a little bit of the shows. We'll talk AEW. I wanted to throw this out there as we get into what happened on the show. It had the lowest viewership it's had in well over a year. It was 760,000. So we're back to like against NXT kind of numbers. I think there's a lot of interesting conversation to be had about why that might be. I think my favorite that the AEW fandom is really leaning on is that the Stanley Cup was happening at the same time. The Stanley Cup.
Those are two shitty teams.
Say what?
The two shitty teams.
The Rangers are a very popular team, and Tampa Bay has been on fire this year.
It's Tampa Bay.
Oh, it's Tampa Bay versus Avalanche. That's right. The Rangers are out.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, fuck them. Yeah, Avalanche, Tampa Bay do not have fans. But the Stanley Cup, for one, had the shitty team.
Shout outs to the Avalanche.
Shout outs to Avalanche.
I'm the lone fan here.
Yeah. I was looking at their logo and being like, isn't that the college team in Alaska? Like, what the fuck is this?
I'm not gonna lie, that's why I started to like them, because of that that logo and their jerseys. I was like, wow, that's hot. And that was back in the 90s, so yeah. I'm a Devil fan though, just
Thank you.
Full disclosure.
Thank you. I love the Devils. They're my second favorite team. Had the best goaltender, I believe, in my mind, ever.
I knew it was something.
Martin Brodeur. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, that's it. you ain't gotta say no more.
Marty,
I love you,
Marty
man.
cheated on his wife.
I love you, Amanda.
His wife, but you know what? All those guys cheat. Okay, all of them. Don't tell me that they don't. You just, called the girl a homewrecker because it happened to be the nanny. Well, hey, it was opportunity, but I won't say anymore.
So the AEW fan base is saying they went up against the Stanley Cups. The Stanley Cup had 1.3 million viewers. Like, they still didn't get as much as Raw or... Like, Stanley Cup didn't get as much viewership as Raw or SmackDown. You know what I mean? Like, it's not... When they went up head-to-head against the NBA Finals, they did better numbers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying... If you're going to say the Stanley Cup took away that much viewership, then why didn't the NBA Finals take away that much viewership when NBA is far and away far more popular in America than hockey is? It just is, and the numbers are there. I don't remember how many people were watching the basketball game, but it was a shit ton. I thought it was like 11 million or some shit, but it's a lot.
What's crazy to me is who is the creative team for AEW?
Tony Khan.
That's it? That's it? Well, I'm not surprised, because who in the hell in their right mind would put a match with Warlord facing 15, 16 security guards?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And it was an elimination match at that. Elimination.
Yeah.
Are you
that
kidding
shit was
me?
way over too.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't want to step on your shoes, Marsh.
But this is all part of it, right? This is part of it. And even Splinter Fox goes, I don't look at views, I enjoy wrestling. And I think that we're pretty clear about us being largely the same. The viewership isn't a big factor. But the reason I think it's notable right now is because for a show that typically gets very close to 1 million, that high 900s, for them to see a sudden dip so crazy, it makes me wonder, because we've also said the last couple weeks have not been as good. It's not been as enjoyable. It's been pretty stale. And I think the build is what I'm getting to. I think we're seeing a reflection of the Forbidden Door is not something that their fans are that excited for. I don't think that they care. I don't think they're doing a good job building it. I don't think they're doing a great job explaining these people being important. I think you're missing CM Punk. You're missing MJF. I think you're missing a lot of what brought people to come watch. And now there's nothing that even looks like on the other side will be a reason, right? Like, once the Forbidden Door happens, we've done it. We've had our 50-50 split booking show. So we all know that once the Forbidden Door happens, we're starting over again. We're going to get back to business. I feel like we're going to see a big spike in viewership again after Forbidden Door. I think people are like, all right, if this is what the show is until Forbidden Door, I'm coming back after. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I will say this. I will go first. There's a reason, besides that Wardlow match, why their ratings were horrible. Behind me. Just me yelling at the guy.
It's you.
Ocean.
It's a picture of you.
Now, hear me out. Hear me out. This is proof that Billy Ocean Spray is not a fucking draw. Okay? He's not. Because apparently, if I heard correctly, him and Dax was the worst rated segment of the whole night. Wonder why.
No,
Well,
I actually, Raj had reported the worst rated segment of the whole night was Jungle Boy and Young Bucks. That the last match was the worst rated of the night.
Interesting. Raj, you might be wrong.
I'm not saying there wasn't a dip for Ospreay.
No, but let me dig into Ocean Spray. Come on now, Raj. Come on.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Bone. You know.
I'm not saying he's not the second worst.
Well, it was just people probably tuned off by the time the main event. But go ahead.
Could be. Yeah, could be by the main event.
I will say this. Yeah, I'm a troll. Okay, I trolled because a lot of people on my timeline were calling him Ocean Spray. That perked my interest, and there was a kid in the stands that had it front row, an Ocean Spray sign. But then I'm like, you're cheering for him. You get that revoked, and I think that I am. Because I've been calling him that for years, and people laugh. They think it's funny, or they used to think it's funny. So now it's like the big trend. Woohoo. Called it to his face once, twice, so many times now that, you know what? Yeah. I can't even say his name anymore. Right? To him. So, whatever. But, point of it is that match really proved that he's not a draw. Yeah. It was boring. You had to have, like, Excalibur and Shivani really kind of, like, talk him up.
They really were, yeah.
Yeah, and JR was, oh, yeah, he's good, but whatever. I was in England, whatever. But that's kind of sad.
I thought the opening of the match was really telling, too, and kind of sad. Like, they go in there, and the bell rings, and they stare at each other. They both look into the crowd. They both turn their backs on each other, and they're looking into the crowd because they're expecting the Kenny Omega Daniel Bryan moment of the groundswell, the crowd starting to roar and rumble just in anticipation, and they weren't getting it. I didn't have my TV all the way up, but I didn't have it all the way down. I have it a lot of times when I'm watching AEW because the commentary to me can be pretty rough, except for JR making me laugh. I did hear a lot from Excalibur explaining IWGP and all that. I thought that was awesome. He did actually a great job of explaining the importance of it. But it's just low enough to where I hear the pops, but I don't hear a lot of the chatter. And I heard nothing during that moment. I was like, they are begging the crowd to give them a roar. Like there's this built-in anticipation for Dax vs. Ospreay, which those of us who know both people can wrestle were probably happy to see the match. I thought it was a pretty decent match. I didn't like a lot of it. I didn't hate a lot of it. I felt like not a bad match in general in the middle of a show that had a bunch of awful matches. But
Dax is really good.
But Dax is very, very good. But there wasn't a groundswell,
But this really showed the weakness of Ocean Spray.
Yeah.
He's not good on the mat. Okay, and I'm not saying this because I don't like him. Dax worked him. I mean, and it was like he went to school. People expect out of Billy Ocean Spray, they expect flippy shit. But here's the facts. The guy fucking gained so much weight, that he can't do that shit anymore.
Yeah.
Because I think Ricochet put on as much mass. But, Ricochet can do all those moves still.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to me, but it's really weird because there's part of a fan base that doesn't like him for, his outside, behavior.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of that come up like, oh yeah, remember when Will Ospreay was whining about he doesn't have any money and asked fans to give him money so he could buy his mom a car?
Yeah.
I remember that. And I thought, how pathetic. Why are you doing that? It's stupid. That's when he got signed to New Japan. But whatever. I mean, everyone's like, oh, this is the gaijin that's going to carry that company. No. If you can't get a reaction like a Kenny Omega, you are not the gaijin that'll carry that company. Sorry. No. Because I think Jay White, a lot of people don't like Jay White, but I think that he is really commanding in that role. And plus, he's one of theirs. I mean, he went to the dojo there. So, I don't know. I feel like that match is going to be awful, you know. And then you have Orange Cassidy come out. Talk about a fucking boring match. I have this feeling Tony Khan's going to actually put Orange Cassidy and Ocean Spray together. They might make nice juice, but
they already announced it.
Yeah.
No, Ospreay tweeted. He tweeted out that that's what's going to happen. I don't care to see it either. Let me see. Let me hit some of the chatter real quick. Tony Fox says people in the States 70% don't like Japanese wrestling, which is sad, but it's also notable. Like, who are you catering to and why, and is that going to be helpful? And I would want it to be good. You know, he thought that the Wardlow thing was bullshit, or he said it was a garbage. He thought Dax and Ospreay was good. Miro Page was amazing. Jay, the last rock and roller. I think that's the other part of it, though. Like, even if you look at the card, like I said, there's no Punk, there's no MJF. You've got this Forbidden Door build that is really lackluster. And your biggest stories on this card are Wardlow versus a fake lawyer and Y2J in a hair versus hair match against the same guy he's been fighting for 3 years. You know what I mean? Like this Kingston thing going on. And then you had the Hardys, or you had the Young Bucks and Luchasaurus in a tag match that was largely a Hardy Boy story that wrapped in the Young Bucks at the very last second. Like, you were losing, like, no one was into the Young Bucks story either. Like, I mean, like, there's nothing here for anyone to grab onto. Like, it just was a card that was completely mediocre. And I think it's just a bad time to have a mediocre card.
I think that the Bucks, if they were going to give them back the titles, they should have done it in Ontario on that Rampage.
I don't think they were going to. To me, it was pretty clear when I saw this. I was like, oh, the Hardys were going to win. They wanted the turn for Christian. That was supposed to be their big thing. Christian's turning, which has been telegraphed for months. That's the other thing. There's nothing wrong with being predictable at times, but it's got to feel like cool when it happens. And so much of their stuff they make predictable, and then when it happens, you go, yep, then it happened. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't get that big moment feel.
Bro, like, I felt the same way about the whole Sammy Guevara, right?
Yeah.
Sammy Guevara shit. Like, what was his name? Alfredo or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm looking at it, right? And the mask is not even fully on his face. You can tell it's fucking Sammy. I'm like, that's Sammy. I said it when he did it. I'm like, that's Sammy. And then when they took it off, it's like, oh my gosh, it's Sammy. It was like, I knew that. That wasn't no surprise.
Yeah.
So, like, just to that point, you know, their storytelling, they want to give you a shock factor, but they don't know how to shock you.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Even Ospreay and Orange Cassidy was like the slowest, most high school play dramatic thing that they were trying to get the right shots. They wanted the right photos, and it came off so campy. And I was like, what are we doing?
Look at this. This is not camp. Yep, and we'll let Ocean face. That's not camp.
Yeah.
That was a moment. I'm not saying that Orange Cassidy couldn't do that. But there was a point when they were face to face, and I'm like, really? I was face to face with this sucker. And let me tell you, I got more heat out of that crowd and everybody than, you know, whatever. They're just like, oh my God, Orange Cassidy. So fucking what? So fucking what? Yeah. I want one of my favorites to beat the shit out of Ocean Spray. But things don't happen.
Did you guys... So, at the end of the hair versus hair match, Ortiz just started cutting his own hair.
That was dumb.
That really annoyed me.
And it was so... I couldn't... It's like, really? I couldn't even watch it, really. Maybe I'm that type of guy because I have a weak stomach. And it's just like, I'm like, dude, what is you doing? Now I get it. You want to show you're tough, and you're like, yeah, blood and guts, blood and guts, blood and guts. Okay, fine, that's great. But did you have to go ahead and cut your own head to do so? I mean, that was just over the top, bro, and it was over the top for no reason. Like, what was the point? And then to come back later on in the show with a full, clean shaved head, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, what is going on?
It just looks like you wanted to cut your hair, and then you start going, "Oh, I wonder if he threw the match." You know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to live in
Man,
kayfabe for a minute, you're like, "Did that character even want to win?" Like, because he was really excited to cut it.
Oh yeah, that was bizarre. What? Going back to the Forbidden Door.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's only right now, I think, 2 matches of interest for me, and also with Jay White. But I'll get into that in a minute. The 2 matches that they could, one of them, if Tony actually played this right, would have been amazing. Is they should have really pushed Andrade and Roosh. Now, I know that the casual, as I said before, casual AEW fan does not know the significance of that. But when you throw Naito in it, LIJ, LIJ. The LIJ, I think, is probably more so than Bullet Club. I think there's more LIJ fans than there are Bullet Club fans, because Bullet Club was trendy to wear that shirt. That's all I see Bullet Club as. It was a trend. You know, all cool people.
Did you not hear about the CMLL stuff?
No.
The people who are contracted to CMLL, the Lucha Brothers and Andrade specifically, because they don't have a good working relationship with NJPW, they're forbidden from working Forbidden Door. They can't be on the card.
So they're canceling that match?
There's no Andrade or yeah.
Well, gee, that's a cock blocker, because on the pay-per-view, we got a hint of that. And I was excited because I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be like LIJ and LIJ. Tranquilo. Whatever he does with his eye. Anyways, but so we're going to get what? Orange Cassidy now versus Ocean Spray? Boring. Yep.
I'm surprised they're doing Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm on the Forbidden Door. Like Toni Storm represents Japan or something?
Well, it's weird that they're doing a women's match in at all, because there's no women in NJPW.
Yeah.
You know, but that you know, I digress. And then the other match, if it's still going on, the one that I called this, and Tony, if you listened and you booked it because of me, give me my money. Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson. To me, that's the fucking best match on the card, if it's still happening.
I think it hasn't been announced, but they did tease it, yeah.
No, it was, I thought.
I'm not seeing it on my list here of matches that was written today by somebody yesterday.
I would have, if they had announced it earlier, I would have gone, because...
Yeah. Oh, well, Daniel Bryan's out with injury right now.
Well, then why the fuck is Zack Sabre Jr. doing his... Oh, yeah, his political... I love his promos. God damn, he roasts people. Big hefty sigh.
Yeah. But I mean, he's not injured, but maybe they're teasing it because if he's back in time, then they can throw it together. If he's not back in time, then it is what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the one match I think of anybody that would, I mean, I think would be the best, because it's like the best versus the best. And I know a lot of people think that's a snooze fest, you know, tech submission. But those guys have a very similar, I mean, it's almost identical how they're, you know, not only just their match philosophy, but just in how they work. I mean, I get a girl stiffy with that. Yeah. So, because it's my favorite style. But if you're disappointing me again, Tony Khan, with this Forbidden Door, no. And why can't we have Toru Yano and fucking Colt Cabana reunited again? That was so fun. They were a good pair together. But I'm not booking this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like any of the Jericho stuff.
Tony Khan, huh?
Yeah, Tony Khan. With when Moxley and Tanahashi doing their thing, Jericho coming out, making the whole segment about him, I thought was terrible. Ridiculous.
I liked how Tana with the good hair told him to shut up.
I thought it was overall, yeah, that was good. I thought it was overall like not a very good episode, dude. And I feel like that a lot of the build to Forbidden Door has been a lot of misses because they're just anticipating people are going to know and be excited. But like you said, even the stuff that you were excited for isn't even happening. And even in some of the group chats I'm in with people who are massive AEW fans, you see it week after week. They're getting less and less excited about Forbidden Door. Like when the announcement was first made, they're like, "Oh my god, it's going to be amazing! It's going to be everything." And at this point, they're like, "Look, I don't know if I'm going to get it." Like I heard someone say it the other day. There's like, at this point, I don't know if I'm going to actually pay to see it. Like,
once again, it's in Chicago.
Yeah.
Of all places.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't like that they did not infuse the New Japan, the dojo, the LA dojo. A little upset about that. But there's some great people there, and it's just really kind of sad.
Yeah. Spinfox does say calling it FDR versus Empire, and they win the NJPW titles, then beat the Young Bucks to hold all the titles. I'd be home. I'd be in for that. That'd be cool. I'd like them to be the only team to ever hold all of them at once.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great. Talk about belt collectors.
Yeah. But that was kind of my overall feel of AEW, and I want to know if you guys are feeling like different. Like the stuff that you're down on, is there more stuff that you're into at least, or?
No. You blew away. Like I've seen hide nor hair of Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. You know, it's like they fell off the face of the earth. And again, we're still seeing the same people over and over again. And it's like, dude, like, can you please put other people on TV? Please, for the love of God.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting old to me. I will just say that one exciting thing is at least I get to see Roppongi fights again. So, yeah, I'm really elated about that one. But is that enough? No, I don't think so. You know, because they're not even wrestling. You know, it's a big jumbled team.
They're not even really using them like that.
And I love me some Jeff Cobb, but you know, I wish he'd overthrow Ocean Spray. But anyways, no. But I mean, I don't want to see a match like that. That's boring. And I know Japan loves those types of matches, like, you know, big 6-man ones, or like Bullet Club versus Suzuki-gun and all that. But to have Desperado from Suzuki-gun pair with Archer, I'm like, you know what it would have been really cool is if he reunited KES. That would have been really cool because they were a staple in New Japan. And, you know, that was probably one of my favorite tag teams that was in Japan, period. Whether it be Noah, whether it be New Japan, was Killer Elite Squad. And I think that would have been a much better kind of choice because you're blending in, you know, someone who's on the AEW roster but has those roots in Japan. And I think that would be amazing. And plus, we don't see enough of Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. He'd have been a cool one to put on there.
Yeah.
Shakes, am I being a little rough on AEW? Do you feel like it's going... How do you feel like it's going?
I think y'all are a little rough on them, but I think that y'all have legit right towards them because of what I'm saying, in my opinion, of why I sit there and raise my eyebrows is the creative. I'm like, well, what's going on creatively? Like, I mean, I kind of want to apply and say, you know, I can help. And like, I have ideas, man.
I feel like that.
And a lot of them happen.
I just feel like that a lot of I don't think that it was a Stanley Cup thing that saw a dip. I think that they're seeing kind of the fruits of their labors when it comes to Forbidden Door specifically. But I do think that after Forbidden Door, I think they get back up to the numbers that we expect them to have, and I think they're going to be fine, and it's going to be a blip. And I think that something that could have been a really cool yearly thing, I think, is unless their buy rate goes through the roof, which is possible, this might be the only Forbidden Door pay-per-view we end up seeing, you know?
So you think that's the reason why of the dip is that they mixing these two brands?
I think the way they're mixing the two brands has been lackluster for people who are a fan of both brands. And I think it's not been enough for someone who's a fan of one brand to care about the other brand. And I think that, coupled with the lack of star power by losing your MJFs and CM Punks and Hardys, on top of the fact that your only two long-term or decent, or like not even decent, just your biggest the biggest stories you have at all are surrounding Jericho and Wardlow. Not to say those two dudes aren't stars in their own right, but their stories are not interesting in this moment. They're not. I mean, we knew last week what we were going to get from Wardlow this week. Tony Khan wanted Goldberg, so instead of getting Goldberg, he's building one. And he wanted to do a Goldberg segment, and the fans are more interested in Wardlow's fighting for a reason than fighting 20 security guys in a really messy match that made no sense, where he was pinning people on every side that he could, and it was just a nightmare. And I think that people are sick of the Jericho stuff. He's not all that entertaining at this point. And I think that people didn't have a reason to tune in because of all those things combined. I think that it made sense. I'm almost surprised they didn't have less viewers in an aspect, you know. Yeah, and Ospreay was having a match.
I'm going to die on. I will die on that hill. No.
Yeah, because even fans of him know that he doesn't wrestle like he used to. He's not wrestling the way that fans of his grew into fans of him because of. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, so even people who are big fans of him go like, "Oh yeah, but you should see these old things." I still see more footage and GIFs and stuff from back when he was wrestling Ricochet than I see anything he's done in the past couple years.
Well, if you want to see a really good one of my favorite matches, Marty Scurll versus Will Ospreay, Sakura Genesis, 2018. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Wrong guy won, but Red Shoes also should have called it, because speaking of people that were knocked out, yeah, Ospreay was knocked out for a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that there's a lot of things that are counting against them. Where, like, if you had a couple of weak stories, but you had a bunch of other stuff going on, like, it's easy for everyone to still stay excited. I just don't see why someone would have been excited for this particular episode.
And you know what, I don't understand? Yeah. Is I always thought that ROH did a fantastic job with their new, except for the last one at Madison Square Garden. They always did a fantastic job of merging the two companies together. And it was always exciting to see Global Wars every year. And then when they started getting all the luchadors, that was a great mix to have in as well. And they had women from, I think, Stardom came as well and fought some of the Women of Honor. And I thought that, hey, this is some great quality things that are here, But I don't know. I mean, is it more like, they don't trust Tony Khan? I don't know. Sometimes I wonder that, though.
Yeah.
Does New Japan trust Tony Khan? I don't think so.
Well, Tony Khan came out in an interview and said that Mox vs. Tanahashi is finally happening at Forbidden Door, and had made mention that NJPW was trying to book Mox vs. Tanahashi and NJPW over and over and over again, and he refused to let it happen. He did everything he could to block it from happening, because he thought if that match was going to happen, he needed to be the one to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what a dick.
I always tell people, sometimes you got to look at your favorite wrestlers and see how much of a diva they are. Like, you won't lose to certain people, or you don't want to lose to certain people. And then that should tell you what kind of person they are.
Yeah.
So that tells me that Mox is not a great person, not too good of a person.
Masa?
Mox.
Was it? Oh, Mox. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not that good of a person because I can name 4 other people who do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You have Dragon Lee, and he's done it so many times. It's like, I'm like, shit. When I see it, it's like, oh yeah, Dragon Lee's gonna win because he doesn't want to put over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am sort of when I heard how badly they were trying to make Tanahashi versus Max happen, it made me think that there could be a pretty cool match there. That if Mox has been trying to get it to happen and couldn't get Tony to approve it, here's a way that it could happen, and maybe we could get a cool match. Because I feel like that Mox for me is real hit and miss. Some of his matches I think are just awesome, and other ones I just think that it's kind of too much of whatever it is in the time. So I think that it's very possible that he's got a vision for this and wants to do a certain thing, and we could get something really cool, But
now, hair versus hair would have been great. Jericho versus Tanahashi.
Yeah, that'd have been a good one.
Tanahashi and get rid of that hair. I remember when he cut it, there was like a gasp around the world. People went silent. I now say this, I did kind of mourn it for a couple of days.
No.
It was sad. It broke my heart.
He's got great hair.
It was for a movie role. And I get it, he wears extensions sometimes, but the man has the best hair in goddamn professional wrestling. Even more so than the women.
No. Was there anything else on AEW that you wanted to break down at all?
I don't like what they're doing with Athena. They're setting her up to fail.
I think so, yeah. I don't like what they're doing with Thunder. She was on TV for all 30 seconds and got her ass handed to her again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fucking bummer, dude.
Like they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Bucks again.
And then I feel like the Tony and Thunder match was thrown together too, because we're gonna get it at Forbidden Door and we know it now. But they've given Thunder such little TV time that it's almost kind of like, why? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that with talent as good as both of those two are, if they were given TV time to build this matchup, I bet you it would be highly anticipated. You know what I mean? I bet it would be like the match. Say what?
By the way.
What?
I wonder if she's injured.
No.
In some sort of way.
She's not.
No.
No, I'll tell you right now, she's not injured.
I'm just throwing that out into the wild.
No, it's not the case.
But I think I'm tired of covering for Tony Khan.
No.
My thing is outside looking in because, I don't watch NJPW and all that. So I don't know a lot of these people. So a lot of these people, I'm like, okay, who is this? And I'm hearing the roar from the crowd. So obviously they somebody. And I'm like, okay, all right, this is interesting. Now, but like from what y'all just said, what I gathered yesterday, it seemed like a whole different thing. Or from Wednesday. Yeah, yesterday. But so like soon as he comes out, Mox is like, man, I've been searching everywhere to wrestle you. And I'm like, okay, so why didn't you wrestle him? Well, what was the problem? And other guy he ain't really had nothing to say, but he wanted to say something, but Mox just kept going. And I'm like, let me hear from this guy. I want to hear what he has to say. Was he ducking you? Was he running? I don't know. Let me know. I want to know. I was intrigued, but they didn't give it to me. So that's what I got from that. I was like, okay, what's the story behind this? So hearing what y'all had to say about it, I was more intrigued about what y'all was saying about the damn story than they actually did.
Yeah. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about was Jay White. And Jay White and Hangman. Yeah. Yeah, I like how he's like, no, dude, no. God is not here. No. I'm not doing this. No. And then when Adam Cole came out, he got dissed too. I loved it. It was the best. So I wonder who you think they're teasing. to fight Jay White? Do you think it's Kenny?
I think.
Or someone else?
I mean, Kenny would be a good one, but I just think Kenny's still out. Like, he just went under another surgery, I thought. Like, I think he's out. Yeah, he's gone through, like, a bunch of surgeries. Which also could be fucking half kayfabe anyways. They could just be saying that.
Because Punk ain't gonna come back for that.
Oh,
my broken toe healed. Wah.
Yeah, CM Punk stubbed his toe, and now he's out forever. Mm-hmm. He lost his smile. I don't know. Who do you think... Or, I mean, you don't know a lot about NJPW over there. I don't... But I guess AEW still is a big roster. Who do you think they're possibly going to give him up to?
There is nobody.
Do you think Wardlow?
No.
Here's my thing. If you shit on the ex-champion and say, you're not worthy.
Yeah.
And then you shit on the guy that they trying to coin, Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not worthy. Who the fuck is worthy? Right?
The MJF. That would be hilarious.
Is it?
Well, he did say he's calling a shot. If you think about it, if he gets to call a shot, then it's, quote, out of Tony's hands.
Mm-hmm.
He could theoretically call out MJF and bring it back. Get MJF back on the show for something.
Mm-hmm. Or obviously the only other choice is Kenny, which a lot of people are really thinking it's Kenny. But the only other person, there really isn't anybody.
They don't have a very...
They haven't built anybody up enough on that level. And if it's Darby Allin, how fucking boring is that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. They don't have anybody really who's like in a main event kind of position.
No, unless you give someone a shot. But who do you give a shot to?
Yuta.
No, he's already doing something. And people are like, oh my God, Yuta wins. Da, da, da. I'm like,
what about Mero, since they like the WWE guys so much?
Maybe. But he's already got a match too because he's doing the Mid-Atlantic Championship.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only other person I think it'd be kind of awesome, but it ain't gonna happen, is I would like to see Ricky Starks. But that ain't gonna happen.
That could be, but it wouldn't make sense.
No.
Yeah.
No. But you have two guys who are really good on the mic. See them roasting each other, and it would be just amazing.
Do you think it's possible? I just don't see it happening. Because, like, Jay White's going to have to put his belt up, isn't he?
Yeah. So whoever's going up against him, pretty much they're going to lose.
They have to lose, right?
Yeah, because, everyone's thinking, unless it's Kenny, and he gets it back. But I don't know about that.
But I don't see Tony wanting Kenny to be doing a bunch of NJPW stuff if he's finally back. You know what I mean? I could see a world. It would be really peculiar. I could see a world where MJF comes in and wins it and then wrestles exclusively for NJPW for like 6 months. Because the story being that Tony Khan doesn't want him there, and you know what I mean, he could be exiled over to NJPW in a sense, but really be kind of floating on both. He could show up and talk shit.
No, but his style of wrestling does not fit over there.
I don't think so. Yeah.
And his character is not going to get over.
It won't translate.
It's not going to translate. They're like, who's this guy yelling? No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, the only, and then I'm just kind of, no.
Yeah.
They can't do Wardlow. Wardlow's still way too green. To put him up against the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. No, he's too green. That's like throwing Jade Cargill out there versus Becky Lynch. She's way too green.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying to think of even who's like free agents we haven't seen from that could potentially work. But I don't see Tony giving up talent. And I think that, like you said, they either have to come in and lose and then come into the company representing the company and be a loser for the company right away, or they would win and be an NJPW more than they're an AEW, and who would he want to sign just to give over? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense, because if we wanted to go crazy
Sign
and
the
say...
villain, goddammit.
Huh?
I said, sign the villain, goddammit. But, oh, wait a minute. People at NJPW in LA didn't want him there. But yet, TJ Perkins is... Whatever.
Yeah. But I was thinking, like, if you were to do someone like a Cesaro even, it wouldn't make sense to bring him in and then hand him over. And it wouldn't make sense to bring him in just to have him lose. You know what I mean? Like,
Jay Lethal would be boring. Been there, done that.
Yeah. Oh, it's a weird one. It's like Shake said, though. Jay White did come out and just shit on all the people that they had in any kind of position to do it. And so for him to be like, oh, it's going to be bigger, it's kind of like, well, who the fuck is it going to... What are you going to do here?
Right.
I could see MJF coming in to do it and then having them specifically have somebody cost him the match. I don't know.
Someone from Bullet
Punk?
Club?
You could still have Punk come out and get him screwed.
Adam Cole.
Wardlow. Adam Cole. Yeah. Everyone hates MJF. Could be anybody. Could be Tony Schiavone.
No. You know who's probably really upset that she's not in anything is Dr. Britt Baker.
Yeah, she needs to go.
Yeah.
Sprinter Fox says, Joe, that's a good point. Samoa Joe, you could, put your ROH champion against the IGPW champion.
You could. But I don't think so. It's got to be someone that's going to give that shock value.
Yeah.
And, honestly, right now, there isn't anybody.
Yeah.
You can't throw Swerve in there, as much as that would be really cool to see.
That'd be cool.
Keith Lee, no, he gets gassed too quickly for working a Jay White. No way.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah. I know it'll be interesting to see, but my money is on Kenny's coming back.
That would be neat.
Or here's a throw. What about Cody?
Yeah, bring Cody back. One more round.
One more match.
Yep.
Yeah.
As far as NXT goes, Shakes, have you been watching any of NXT?
No, not really.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The last couple of weeks have been a little bit of like a weird space for it. Like I feel like they're re-getting their footing. They're giving a lot of time to Roddy, which is a little weird. Roderick Strong. To be honest, I felt like the real highlights. Yeah, the real highlights were Tiffany Stratton versus Fallon Henley. Wendy Chu got involved, so the women are killing it. The 3-on-3 match at the end was Toxic Attraction against Roxanne, Cora Jade, and Indy Hartwell, and that was a really cool match. Although I think Gigi got hurt in the finish.
She did.
Did it come out? Did someone announce that she was injured?
Pretty much so. I mean, she got help to the back, and it didn't look good from what people are saying.
Yeah.
So I don't know if officially anything was said.
Yeah. When she got, they did like Cora did the swanton on her, and just gave her all of it, and you could just see Gigi just and like she like goes over, she's like on her side, and you just hear her scream, and like the camera cuts away from her, like it was gnarly. I think she broke a rib or some shit. But other than that, it was a really good match, and she sold it like hell, so that works. And then I guess the only other thing in the show, I mean, Wesley versus Iron Quinn was good. Joe Gacy's tag team came out, and they're kind of like two hooded Harlins, which is fine. Cameron Grimes is going to go up against Braun Breaker coming up. They had a promo segment back and forth, which was nice, so that'll be a good match there. Braun Breaker did a spear on Duke Hudson that was disgusting. It was so good. It just like it was so good that it left red marks on Duke Hudson's abdomen.
Oh my god!
From a spear. It was like
I love Braun Breaker, man. He's way beyond NXT right now.
When is he gonna make that jump?
He needs to.
He does.
Do
It's
you
like I would
think
like them
it
to
happened
put the belt on,
SummerSlam?
or maybe
That'd be
before
good.
because yeah, or you can put the belt on Cameron Grimes because him carrying gold.
Yeah.
I think that run was too short.
Yeah.
So
Give it
you
back
think
to
it's
Mello
coming
like
up?
that.
So you think he's about to make that main event
No, I don't think
roster?
not yet. But
Okay,
Braun Breaker, yeah.
that's what I'm talking about, Braun Breaker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Cameron Grimes. Like,
No.
yeah.
So you think
Yeah.
he's going? He's going up.
I
He
wouldn't
should
be surprised because he's so young. I wouldn't be surprised if they let him in NXT for a year. I don't think they need to, but it wouldn't shock me.
No.
Just to give him that kind of experience, especially because they have all those guys coming down, like the Apollo Cruzes and Dolph Zigglers and shit like that, you know? They can still send down people to help them get ready. What was that, Shakes?
I think if you're trying to build a legend in this kid, I think that SummerSlam is the route to go. Like you have to make a mark in your first impressions of everything.
Exactly.
That's true.
So if he comes in a big marquee moment, SummerSlam, and makes a big old impact, now we're talking about Braun Breaker like he's the next. So
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect thing in SummerSlam.
I think so too. That'd be sick. We're gonna get Grayson Waller versus Solo Sikoa. They had a little spat backstage, so there's that. But I mean, honestly, outside of that, like nothing on here has like been bad. Giovanni Vinci finally debuted. It's the former Fabian Eichner. His gimmick now is that he just feels no pain and beats the shit out of a dude. So we'll see how long that lasts. Like he's like, here's the deal. I'll beat the shit out of you and sell nothing. And you're all like, yeah, perfect. It's a great character. Like, it's weird. But he's also just so good. So I don't hate seeing him, but it's a little weird. It's a little weird to have somebody who's held the tag title so many times to come out so rebranded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, apart from that, like there was stuff that happened. Carmelo, D'Angelo, LDF, they're all doing their things, but there's just not all that compelling. So we could talk a little bit of some other news stuff on it. Go ahead, Shakedown.
One thing though, is they trying to hit like lightning in a bottle again? Because now they sent
Apollo,
Nigerian guy, Apollo Creed back down there. Yeah,
I think so. They had a big video package of him, like, and it was weirdly done. It was super cinematic. He like daydreamed about beating up some dude, and then went over there and then beat up that dude. It was just all taking place in a diner. But I agree. I think they are trying to. I think they're trying to do something for him, try and get him, you know, back on track because he's like seems like he's so good and he's so start stop, and his story is so impressive and incredible, and everything is just start stop. Like, yeah, whatever it takes to get him to connect. You know what I mean? Whatever that's gonna be, do it. I'm on board for it. But yeah, it's weird. Something did happen in the news though that we didn't talk about NXT related. Tony Two Dimes or two dimes, two stacks dimes, two dime stacks. Mm-hmm. He's been released. But he was on the show because they pre-recorded like 2 weeks, so he's going to be on the show for 2 weeks and then he's gone. The rumor, because it was said that he was released for failing to comply to a policy. And then it was, but he'll be welcome to come back to the company in a year. So the belief and rumor is that he's underage, is that he's 17.
Oh.
Which, if you're lying about your age to get a job, first off, how your HR department doesn't catch it is bizarre. But
exactly, and especially with a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah, real bizarre.
Yeah.
But also, I would think that, I mean, I guess maybe because I'm just a little heavy-handed, but I would feel like that if someone lied about their age to get in, that you'd almost want to be like, all right, well, I wouldn't say come back next year. I'd say, hey, it's going to be a while, man. I don't know if we can trust you anymore. But
wow,
it's tough to say because it's a kid's dream, right? You don't want to crush a kid's dream right then and there. So,
congratulations, Golden State.
Yeah, I was just exploding my damn phone too. Congratulations to the champ.
I will say this: they got what they wanted. They really wanted a championship in San Francisco to kind of get rid of the Oakland pass. But I'm like, you know what? You can move across the bay in some fancy ass arena, but you know what? Your magic years were over in Oakland, and now you have a corporate crowd. So, and I'm glad I'm not near San Francisco because they're probably going to burn shit down today. So, or maybe Oakland will riot because we don't have them anymore. So, yeah, but congratulations.
Good.
Well, I didn't know that they moved from Oakland. I thought they were still.
Oh hell yeah, that's a big deal because Oakland got screwed. We lost the Warriors, we lost the Raiders. We're gonna lose my Oakland A's. Like no,
Oh wow.
no, I can't take another one going to Vegas. But with the Raiders, I have the comfort of every time they move, they come back to Oakland. So, just saying.
Holding out hope, huh?
Yeah, but but
you'll be back.
They will. They did it from LA, came back, but I think and I know I'll never win the Stanley Cup. Thank you, San Jose Sharks. You fucking suck.
Splinter Fox came up with a good idea on someone to face Jay White. He picked a perfect jobber, someone who can definitely lose to him. He said Kyle O'Reilly.
You're gonna give a consolation prize to Kyle O'Reilly? Yeah. No, that's boring.
I mean, he won that battle royal for no goddamn reason, and he can lose really good. He's been doing it for a long time.
Well, I know, but that's the thing. Kyle O'Reilly is
really lose really good.
Actually, wait a minute.
He's practiced.
I think they've wrestled each other before in ROH when Jay White was doing his excursion there. So I think so. Been there, done that. That's boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought this was a little bit of news. I don't know if it's news or if I don't know. Maybe I read it wrong, but am I mistaken? But did Tony say that he thinks he's really close to having a streaming service with AEW?
He's been teasing it for a while, so it's tough to say.
AEW Network?
No, I think it's more like trying to find a partnership to host it, like an HBO or now with the Warner Media merger, like a Discover app or some shit. Yeah, something like that.
Like Peacock.
Yeah.
No.
They're not gonna get Peacock because WWE got that a lot. But
well, no, I want Peacock to make my amusement park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where it would go. He's been very
it could be Amazon.
Yeah. Could be Amazon.
Could be Amazon. Bezos doing that. Yeah.
I could see that. Why should it just be Fight TV? It'd be so funny. Everyone gets on Fight TV.
Yeah, you can have some weird little no good promotion, and you can be on Fight TV. Yeah, hell, if I wanted a backyard federation, I probably can get on Fight TV.
Yeah, I can get you on there, no problem. Anything else? Anything else going on? Shakes, is there anything you had questions about? I know you didn't make yesterday, and so I thought you might have a little something. You don't have to come up with something. I just wanted to give you the
floor. Yeah, no, but things happening on Raw, but I can't really pinpoint and think about nothing that actually happened. But I'm just so intrigued.
Steph Curry again.
Yeah.
MVP.
Chef. Yep.
Oh.
He's a chef, man. But I like what they're doing with this Judgment Day thing.
Yeah.
This Judgment Day thing I'm loving it. I just don't. I want to know what's the direction? Are they going to stop recruiting now? Are they going to keep on recruiting? Who's the leader? They don't listen to anybody, so nobody's the leader.
Yeah.
What is going on with them? I don't know. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I want them to be kind of like a chaotic, evil. I kind of want them like the. Well, I mean, I guess it's a little on the nose, but I know a lot of people have been comparing them to the Undertaker and stuff. But I think of the Brood, just these creepy, weirdo, people who just come around and fuck up shit and leave, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd be down with that for a while.
Yeah, but I kind of like, this is just me, but you know, this thing you can do so much with it. So I would like a cult following.
Yes.
You know, like everybody just, it's like, you know what? Yeah, I am tired of these goddamn motherfuckers telling me what to do.
Yeah.
And then they join the Judgment Day, and now they just dark and evil.
Yeah.
You got some of your fan favorites that the people just been rooting for, like, yeah, yeah. And then it's like, you know what? Tired of this. Keep on holding me back.
Yeah.
Join Judgment Day. That's what they should do with it.
Yeah, they
Cult
should.
following. Yeah.
But they should cap it at like 5 or 6. Like, don't do too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you don't want it to be the
Yeah,
NWO.
you can't do the NWO type of thing. Yeah. Yeah, you can't really remake that. But like, I kind of like on the Ministry of Darkness, right? And then like corporate ministry, how they did all that. Like, and I know it was overload, but for me, I was like, go.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. I love the ministry.
That's true. Corporate
man.
ministry was pretty big.
Yeah. They was. They had everybody. They had The Rock, Triple H, Undertaker.
Yeah.
I mean,
everybody. Big Boss Man.
Yeah, everybody, man.
Yeah.
That's
everybody.
Like Bullet Club now. Like they've cut like so many people. I'm like, what? Oh, I didn't know you were part of Bullet Club.
I know. I seen that just like on the AEW throughout the Bullet Club thing. I'm like, dang, he Bullet Club too. I mean, people on Bullet Club.
Yeah.
God dang.
Yeah, and then Adam Cole. Oh, you know, you got kicked out of Bullet Club, dude, bro.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I was like, why are you? You know, that's my Bullet Club homie. No, you were kicked out, dude. You were kicked out. Yeah, someone kicked you out. I wonder who.
Have they ever brought up the fact that they murdered Adam Cole? Has that ever come up?
No.
Because I think that'd be cool if they did it right. If he was talking to one of the Jacksons, because it was one of the Jacksons that did it, right? Poisoned him.
Yeah.
It'd be really good if he was just all like,
They also killed Rick Knox too. So.
Yeah. But if they did something where like the one Buck is like asking him to do something, and Adam Cole like second guesses it, like you see him pick up a drink and kind of like put it back down, go, I don't know, you know, like just a little nod
Kenny
to it.
Was involved too. Kenny was involved too.
Yeah. Well, so was Cody.
I remember I was there with Vito that day. I remember X-Pac was there, and I think that was the day Ronda Rousey popped her head in for a little bit.
Nice.
I know that Shayna Baszler definitely was there. She was sitting front row.
Right on. Well, I don't think I have anything else really to cover, to be honest. You guys didn't really see NXT, and it kind of was what it was this week. There was a couple things I liked, but, you know, overall it's kind of, I think we're getting somewhere, but it's... I think one of the things that is nice about NXT is you do watch it with the reset expectation of being along for the ride. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see these people grow, and as long as they're getting better, you're doing a thing. And it's almost like you're watching it the way you watch, like... Almost like when people talk about, like, oh, this team is rebuilding. I mean, oh, they're going to be really good in a couple of years. Like, that's what it feels like watching NXT, is you see somebody and you almost start, like, guessing how many years till they really break. And you're like, oh, this person can do it in less than one. Oh, this person's going to need probably 3 to 5 years. And, like, it's kind of fun to watch it and almost, like, put your little guesses on it and stuff. And I don't know, it's neat to be along for the ride on it. And you go, like, okay, this is what they're doing right now, but I wonder what's going to look like in a year. Like, I don't know. So in that aspect, it's a lot of fun to watch. But on the same token, since a lot of people trying a lot of things, I feel like there's a lot of times you just kind of go like, okay, we don't have to redo that one, you know? You know what they did? Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, you know how when 2.0 came around, I was, like, not liking it. Not a fan. Because, you know, Black and Gold was kind of my jam. But it got to that point where it got really good, and I think that maybe they've gotten complacent and then started that downward, because the last couple of weeks haven't been the greatest, you know, because we were really liking a lot of stuff, you know, and then now it's kind of so I don't know.
Yeah, I do feel like they're trying to figure out something. I don't know what it is though.
Yeah,
but yeah,
and it's like it's too much. That's too much too soon. You know.
You know what they've done
So, like,
with Wendy that is bothering me at this point? All of her pranks fail, but everyone sells the pranks like they are successes because they're supposed to be successes. Like this week, she came out with a cup and threw confetti into Tiffany's face, but it was like a foot short of her face. And so Tiffany's like trying to scoop it up out of the air and put it on her and go, "Oh, you got it all over me." And it's like, between that, the ball bag not emptying out on top of Toxic Attraction, the net falling off of them immediately, the silly string hit a little bit, the squirt gun was like oversold. Like she's like a pest, but they need to do something to make the pranks work better each time. Because like every time she does a thing and you go like, it missed, and they're like, but they're acting like it didn't, and you're like, well, I just wish it didn't miss is all. Just what do we got to do? Like it's not even a problem with the character. It's a problem with that the specific prank execution has been dropping, you know?
Well, that could be a props thing.
It's a props thing.
Yeah. You would think a multi-billion-dollar company would have a little bit of extra cheddar to throw some propage. But then again, they don't really do tables. They don't like to use the tables.
No. Yeah.
Let's go back there.
Yeah. Well. All right. Anything else? Anybody?
Yeah, I got one more thing, right?
What's up?
It don't have nothing to do with wrestling, but I gotta address this.
All right.
Right. I find it very, very disrespectful when you put Tatum's name with Kobe Bryant. You cannot do it. It is a crime. And if you do it, I need you to go get checked out and evaluated immediately. Jason Tatum is no Kobe Bryant. Not close. And I had a lot of arguments on my show with one of my co-hosts about it. He threw him in. He's a top 5 guy in the league. No, he's not. Okay? No, he is not. And it proved it. Once again, I get to say I was right. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. He's no Kobe Bryant. So you people that wants to compare this kid to him needs to stop. Okay?
You know how I know he's no Kobe Bryant? This is how I know he's not a Kobe Bryant. I heard of Kobe Bryant when he was in high school. I haven't heard of the other guy you mentioned.
There you go, Marsh. Boom.
That's why I asked you, because I was like, I don't know the name. I feel like I would have known the name.
Boom. You know?
Yeah.
So all this rah-rah and people get caught up in the moment. Let's just hold the pause. I mean, just pause. Just
you can
pause.
still be the best today and not be the greatest of all time.
Yeah, why do you have to do that? Why do you have to sit there and compare him to that? Like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful. And I need y'all to stop it.
Yeah. Mambo's something else.
Yeah.
Much as I didn't like the guy. I mean, he was something else.
I didn't either. But you gotta respect
the one
greatness. Exactly.
The one I can't stand is LeBron.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
That's another conversation for another day.
As not a basketball fan, there's a couple players you just can't help but hear about and know about, and like Steph Curry's one of them. But Kobe, I heard about him his entire career nonstop. To hear this other guy's the top 5, I've never heard of him. Just lets me know he's not so great that people who aren't watching are talking about it too. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I've been to places just to see Steph Curry play because I was told by enough people I had to go see him play. You know what I mean? Like,
it's magical,
same with Kobe.
especially when he's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So I think you're right on that one, Shakes. Guys, I think we're going to hope for a better week. At least a strong finish of the week with a lot less controversies. Hopefully no one gets injured this week. It's been a hell of a ride.
Very rough.
Yeah, you guys got to follow our TikTok. We have a TikTok now.
Oh, really?
Producer lady's very excited. She's learning TikTok. So you got to go to WOTR episode 1 on TikTok.
It's pretty dumb.
It's pretty much the best. It's
Okay.
pretty good stuff.
God,
You find
making me have to subscribe to TikTok now. Great. Thanks, producer lady.
you could just submit TikToks and we'll put it on ours. You don't have to get your own.
No, I should get my own.
All right, just tag us in it.
Mm-hmm.
I got one, never use it, but I will now. Producer lady.
Yeah, she's very excited about it. I still need to put the link up on our website and stuff. Our website is wrestlingontherocks.com, where you can go to the shop and buy your Drinking Buddy t-shirts and pints and wine tumblers. We got stickers, tote bags, sweaters. We got it all. But Shakes, tell people where they can find out about you and hear your coming up week where you get to go back with your newfound ammunition on how you can definitively prove that Kobe Bryant is in a different conversation altogether.
Oh man, I can't wait to get to talk to those guys. But man, you can catch us on the Shakedown Sports Podcast on YouTube. That's YouTube.com, of course, / the Shakedown Sports Podcast, and the ShakedownSportsPodcast.com. Check us out, articles, all the stuff. We do all sports, not just New York Football Giants. We cover them all. So tomorrow we got the NFC West roundtable going down. Supposed to do it tonight, but things ain't happening the way it's supposed to. But hey, I was here, so that's how God was meant to do. And you know, that's what it was supposed to be, man. So thank y'all again. Thank you, Marsh, and thank you, lovely Amanda and producer lady.
Yep. Amanda, anything you want to shout out?
Thank you again, listeners, for coming and let us fill your ears with our wonderful takes, because you know what, we've got some good ones, some not so good sometimes, but yeah, thank you. And if you really want to see my hatred of Ocean Spray, they posted this match, the one where I get in his face behind me, on YouTube. You just have to look for West Coast Pro, and yep, you could see it in its glory. Yeah, West Coast Pro. And then also just another plug for West Coast Pro. They're doing a 2-night, the West Coast Cup is coming. If you are like anywhere near the vicinity, there's going to be some great people already. Who is wrestling is Lee Moriarty. I'm excited about that, to see Lee again. So
in the chat we have Thunder Rosa saying have a good night. Cheers to the champ. Rushed as it may be, thank you for getting us Thunder versus Tony, and I hope you retain, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But
no, to you, Bill.
Yeah, you never know who's going to come through and have a drink with us, guys. You never know who's lurking. That's why we always say, just be nice. You can be as critical as you want. You can still be nice. But
I don't like you, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Well,
except when it comes to Drew McIntyre.
I think the wrestling world really knows I can't stand Will Ospreay.
Yeah, there's no way that they would believe you if you're being nice about Will
Ospreay.
Ospreay.
I just met you, and I know. So.
Yeah, if you were, they would think you're disingenuous if you're being nice about it. So, with that though, guys, we'll go ahead and we'll see you next week, right here in the dive bar of the IWC for a brand new episode 1. Guys, that's the last call.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Please continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.